This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what you need to know today. In a lengthy interview today with the Moscow-based news organization RBK, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Mikhail Galuzin said Moscow is considering organizing talks with the foreign ministers of Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Russia later this week. We are considering the possibility of holding such discussions on October 12th of this year on the sidelines of the Commonwealth of Independent States Summit in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, Galuzin said. He added, "The Azerbaijani side has already agreed in principle, and we count on the fact that the Armenian side will also approach this issue reasonably and agree to participate." As of 4 p.m. local time today, neither Yerevan nor Baku had commented publicly on the matter. Last week, Azerbaijan rejected planned talks with Armenia in Granada, Spain, facilitated by France, Germany, and the European Union. Continuing, Galuzin laid blame for last month's fall of Nagorno-Karabakh squarely on Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan, denounced Armenia's recent pro-Western tilt, and accused the West of seeking to oust Russia from the South Caucasus. In addition, Galuzin said he expects Russian peacekeepers will stay in Nagorno-Karabakh, despite the fact that the region has been effectively depopulated after nearly all of the region's Armenians, more than 100,000 people, fled their homes. In other Russian news, Moscow has reaffirmed its plans to open a consulate in Armenia's Syunik region, despite fraying ties with Yerevan. Russia has still not made public any concrete timeline for establishing a permanent diplomatic presence in Armenia's strategically important south. In a press release late last week, the Russian embassy in Yerevan said its diplomats had met with local officials in Syunik to review plans to open a consulate in the town of Kapan, the regional capital. The new consulate will contribute to the further strengthening of Russian-Armenian relations and stabilization of the situation in the region, the embassy said. That comes just about a week after France announced plans to open its own consulate in Syunik, again without specifying a time frame. As of now, the only country with a permanent diplomatic presence on the ground in Syunik is Iran, which opened its consulate in Kapan last year. And in more diplomatic news, Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev and European Council President Charles Michel spoke by phone on Saturday in order to, in Michel's words, prepare for an Armenia-Azerbaijan meeting in Brussels. He did not provide a date for those talks. However, in its readout of the call, Aliyev's office made no mention of any possible summit in Brussels, instead saying only the sides exchanged views on regional issues. Continuing, Aliyev's office again castigated Paris for agreeing last week to begin supplying Yerevan with military equipment, saying if any new conflict occurs in the region, France will be responsible for causing it. The next day, Aliyev traveled to Tbilisi, where he told Georgian Prime Minister Irakli Garibashvili Azerbaijan is ready to begin talks with Armenia instantly if they are mediated by Georgia. For his part, Garibashvili said Tbilisi is always ready to take part in this process. Yerevan has so far not commented publicly on those developments. And in Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories, as of yesterday evening, there have been no reports of Armenian citizens killed or wounded in the latest outbreak of hostilities. There has also been no damage reported so far to Armenian historic sites in Jerusalem. That is all according to a spokesperson for Armenia's foreign ministry. During a major Jewish holiday Saturday, Palestinian militant groups led by Hamas launched an unprecedented offensive against Israel from the blockaded Gaza Strip. In just 3 days, thousands of people, both military and civilian, have been killed and wounded in Palestinian attacks and Israeli retaliatory strikes. Over the weekend, Armenia's foreign ministry said on X, formerly Twitter, it was shocked by the developments and joins international calls to stop the violence. You can also check out the latest edition of CivilNet's weekly business digest, where we explain why a holdup of Armenian brandy trucks on the border between Georgia and Russia is raising fears of a potential trade war between Yerevan and Moscow. You can find that story and more up now on civilnet.am. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 50,000. That's the approximate number of people forcibly displaced from Nagorno-Karabakh who have already received a one-time cash payment of about $230 from the Armenian government as of last Friday. So far, Yerevan has set aside about $19 million to help resettle the more than 100,000 refugees from Nagorno-Karabakh now living in Armenia. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.